Without the right employees, without the respect that you command and the loyalty of your employees, you have no business. You may think you have a business, but you have no business at all. One takeaway.
Yeah, so for a good employee, you have to give them feedback for to inspire, to motivate them.
Absolutely. Inspire, inspiration.
And it goes back to the whole thing that you're never really working for yourself, you're working for everyone else. You gotta keep everyone else happy that's working for you in order to stay productive.
Perfect.
I believe in a concept that for a successful business to be successful, you have to have a successful team behind you.
No doubt. Team approach, I like that. Morgan.
I think control and appropriateness is very important, like the time and the place when that.
The accountability, if you are the boss.
Right.
What did you do today? I just paid you $150 plus benefits. What did you do today? I want to know what you did. I'm entitled to it. I wrote the check. I want to have systems and formulas, and when you work in a team and their bonus depends on it, they're not going to let you get away without doing any work. I guarantee you. That's why the teamwork is great. It's like a basketball team, football team. Everybody works together. Okay.
You lead your employees to progress and be successful. So you ask them, what do you want to accomplish? How can you get there? And you get to help with that. You help them move forward and play to their strengths.
Okay.
You always have to have daily goals, and if you do hire like your friends and everything, make sure that you have a work friendship. A work, relationship and a friendship outside of work. Don't mix the two.
This guy Tony Zappos, I've watched an extensive video on him. He is very big on friendships outside. They just moved their whole operation to Vegas. They go and shoot craps together. He is a strong believer in that whole friendship thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I really like having how we was talking about having basketball meetings, one-on-one things, because I think more meetings shouldn't be sitting down. I think you should be outside or doing some kind of activity to stimulate your brain. I actually did a paper on it where a lot of CEOs are starting to do that.
Sure, great idea.
To create a comfortable environment so employees are willing to share their ideas and to help solve problems.
Okay.
I feel like it's important as a boss to be transparent. And when it comes to you having your team, you guys have to be on the same page and have a mutual understanding just so we can work together for success.
Sure. If employees see that the boss comes in 10, 11 o'clock and is running out for lunch, he's not part of the team. And what's going to happen is the other employees in the company are going to take that same kind of lax attitude. So good point.
To keep your employees motivated and happy and compensated, because if you keep them happy, they'll keep you happy.
Absolutely. Okay.
Having meetings and to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Like they said with the morning meeting and the afternoon meeting to just follow up.
Absolutely. Follow-up and execution is really everything. Alexis.
Giving respect to your employees and demanding respect back from employees.
Good point.
And so if you're an entrepreneur and you don't know how to do, let's say, accounting, you can hire a good accountant, or you don't know how to do anything with technology, but if you don't know how to hire, you can't get those people. So definitely number one.
Right. So hiring, this chapter and the chapter in the textbook you just read, in my eyes, is the single most important thing. And you wouldn't think of it. When you're starting a business, you can't be thinking so far down the road about all the employees, but you need to be. It's an important step. All right, so today we have 3 student speakers, and we have a busy class today. All right, so Devendra, why don't we have you come up with us today?
Hi, my name is Devendra Bogdan, and today I'll be presenting on my company, Northern Group, a real estate organization. Well, first off, why real estate? Northern Group is my family company. We've been in business for over 30 years. We opened our doors in 1986, and real estate is a topic I'm very well versed in. I was raised in the business. I've had my license for a few years, and beyond that, it's a business I thoroughly enjoy doing. It's a very multifaceted field, and real estate in and of itself has helped me redefine my personal skills and has pushed me forward to help me become a little bit of a jack of all trades in the business area. So what we do. So Northern Group of Companies as real estate has 2 main focuses. We first deal with distressed asset resolution in real estate and also something known as conventional real estate. We're made up of a few different companies, all working together to further our endeavors in those goals. First is distressed asset real estate is a new term. It's not a very popular version of real estate, but it's basically dealing with homeowners who happen to be in and facing foreclosure. And For those who don't know, foreclosure is when the bank comes for a property because an owner defaults on their mortgage. So our main view for distressed asset real estate is that we work with communities and homeowners to build relationships with them. We have 3 companies dedicated to distressed asset resolution within ourselves. The first is Homeowners Help Center. That's our free community outreach service. We advertise via direct mail and direct marketing, through mailings and brochures to contact homeowners who have had foreclosure action filed against them. We bring them into offices to help educate and empower them so they know the next steps to take to avoid foreclosure and financial ruin. After that comes National Social Process Center. If and when a homeowner cannot take the steps themselves to avoid foreclosure and want to get out of their home, we short the house. We sell it for a discounted price, satisfying the bank's debt and leaving so that the homeowner leaves without any financial burden to themselves. National Social Process Center profits from Homeowners Help Center in and of itself because while Homeowners Help Center is a free outreach service, as I said, homeowners feel more comfortable coming to us knowing that we initially worked with them to stop their pending foreclosure action. After that, we come to a corporation and ourselves called USA Dealmakers. Once a property has been foreclosed in a neighborhood in the community, it a lot of times is prone to vandalism, break-ins, and other sorts of crimes, drives the crime rate up in the area, and the property becomes some sort of an eyesore. USA Dealmakers is to take those foreclosed properties that are held by banks and encourage community to reinvest in those properties. So they come to us, they say, they want to take a house, renovate it, sell it back for a profit, and that way keep the cash flow in the community and keep the cash flow in the community and make it more tight-knit. That's the whole game with distressed asset resolution. People who are in foreclosure, who face those sort of problems, they're approached by all walks of life. We focus on building relationships with these homeowners so that they feel more comfortable working with us and working for and with themselves. The next area is conventional real estate, which I personally specialize in. I've been an agent since 2012, and I've been working in the real estate field since I was 16. And conventional real estate is what you see everybody do, $1 million listing and things like that. It's a sale of something known as real property, covers the areas of residential, commercial, industrial, which all have the different sort of facets. Residential is habitual spaces, commercial is for conducting businesses, industrial is for production, warehousing, and manufacturing. And one of the most hot topics in real estate right now is investment. That's real estate for the purpose of generating profit. We specialize in doing that as well. We sell to clients huge multifamily dwellings, mixed-use buildings, places like that for them to turn a profit. And also homes they can buy, fix, and sell for themselves. Profit inventory. Real estate is a commission-based business, as many of you know. We gain our profits from predetermined fees and are awarded the fees after the transaction takes place. It's also important to note that as a real estate agency, we have a very diverse set of inventory. We have in-house inventory that comes from exclusives from other people, also our own sales, houses we turn to flip and sell, and just recommendations from the community. There's also something called co-broking, which is other people's inventory. We sell for other brokers, other real estate agencies, other property management corporations. So real estate has to have its hands in many different areas of the market to really profit. And also it's important to mention that it's not the job of real estate to sell a home. We're selling ourselves, we're selling the services we provide, and we sell the ability to do so and close a deal. And now, the Bronx Farm Frontier. As I said, I specialize in basically conventional real estate at the time. My plan, and while the rest of my company focuses more on distressed assets, I'm left to more of the conventional side of real estate. I've recently shifted my focus more inwards and intra-borough towards the Bronx, where my office is located. We have served the tri-state community for the last 30 years, but the reason I mainly focus on the Bronx is because of the oversaturation of the real estate market. People will always ask, why don't you work in Brooklyn, Queens, or Manhattan? those areas themselves for conventional real estate, it's not profitable to get your hands in now if you haven't already. In the 2013 census, the Bronx has already lost less residents and gained more. Housing developments have boomed, and we're on the verge of hitting an exponential surge in people moving interborough, coming up from Brooklyn, Harlem, and other parts of Queens to find affordable housing. So, as Northern Realty Group, we are ahead of the game. Would you rather somebody who's recently reaching to the Bronx once the market gets good, or would you rather someone who's been there for 30 years and has established themselves in the borough? And, well, that's really it.
Okay, thank you. Good job. I love that Sobro. Is that a new term that's that come out?
They,
All right, Sobro. I love it. Okay. How many of you think the Bronx is the next frontier in this room by show of hands? Better be. There's not much left down there. Got a couple of questions. Go ahead, Alexis.
I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on this new concept of crowdfunding real estate investments? I see them a lot on investing websites where, like, ordinary people, if they don't have that much money, they'll come together and crowdsource enough money to buy a property and get revenue from that. What are your thoughts on that?
I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know much about it. This is the first time I'm hearing.
Okay. It's a new thing. You'll look into it, and you know, because it is a brand new kind of thing.
But it sounds, crowdfunding has been a huge success in many different areas. As far as real estate, you know, I'd like to think I'm open to very more ideas, but that it doesn't feel comfortable. Be it that real estate is something, you know, it's not a car, it's nothing, it stays there, and it's very intricate. So as far as crowdfunding, I'm not sure about it, but I'd like to look into it more.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's hear it. Nice presentation. How many of you think you'd like to go into real estate one day by show of hands? Okay.
It's a very exciting field.
Yeah. I would think so. I mean, when you have apartments that are sitting there, nobody's talking back to you. Once it's built, it's built. I mean, I think it's a great, great business, real estate. You know, if you get it right. It's very cyclical too. When interest rates get too high, it eats into your profit. So, you know, it's not always a great time in real estate. Okay, next we're going to hear from Ahmad. Let's hear from Ahmad.
Hello everyone, my name is Shimon and I'm going to be presenting my restaurant, Kebab and Shake. It's a grill and smoothie bar actually. Next, these are the products. I'm going to be selling kebab and rice platter, chicken kebabs, kebab sandwich, kebab. These are all sort of like, you know, kebab type things, but I'll add more products and food. These are the shakes. This is a very popular Indian shake. It's called mango lassi, like plain regular lassi, which is a just yogurt-based shake. This stuff are like regular smoothies. Right. So my experience, I'm very passionate about cooking, eating, and going out and serving food. And I currently work at a restaurant as a waiter, so I know how to, like, you know, deal with food, customers, service, all these things. And as I told you like before, I know how to make kebabs and lassi, which is a drink. And every college needs a good eatery. For instance, Brooklyn College has very few places to go and eat. So I feel there is a need to open up a restaurants around this neighborhood or somewhere else maybe. Target market. Whoever loves to eat, spends less, going out with their friends and have a good meal. And young people and students. These are my basic, like, you know, focus, because like they have very less to spend out and, like, you know, eat or spend money on stuff. So my target is them, and it's like if I give them now and they'll bring me more in future. So this is my basic target. And my neighborhood is very, like, you know, it's not too, like, the rent expense is not too high yet. That's why it's a very, like, nice place to open up a, like, store, so I could, like, you know, survive any big like, you know, big downfall or anything. So this is why my neighborhood. And CUNY, all the CUNY schools, I've been to a couple of them, like, City Tech, Hunter, City College. All of them has like very few places to go out and eat for students. They only have halal cards, some maybe Chipotle, pizza, delis. So students need more places to go out and eat, and they actually they spend. It's not like they don't spend, but they spend, but they need more places to go out and eat. These are the competition. It's like, I just put out those stuff in general because they're almost everywhere and in every neighborhood. Halal guys, I guess everyone knows. Chipotle, they serve good food as well. Subway has many stores, and local 99 cents pizzeria. It's a big competitor. I'll compete with them also. These are my strategies. I want my business to be known for good reasons, like, hey, I'm doing something good, people talking good about my business, I'm giving them good product and service, and at the same time, they're like appreciating it. So my goal is to open up at least 5 restaurants in 5 years. It's just like, to be thoughtful and to expand my business. Students and senior citizens get 10% discounts because if I give them discounts, they'll come back and spend again and bring more people with them next time. Provide great service because it's actually doesn't cost me anything. I could just teach my employees to give good service to my customers, and they'll give it for free, and my customers will be happy and come next time. These are the ideas, and I have an app idea which is from India basically actually. So they have those corporate office in India. They actually don't have any apps. So they tell those some people. So some people actually make food without any menu or anything, but they deliver foods in like weekly basis, and they get the money weekly basis. So my apps will actually you could like plan your meal. You work somewhere, let's say you're busy, you come to school, or you as a professor work somewhere and you work and you have a busy schedule. You could just like sit somewhere for 10 minutes. So you could plan your meal, put it in for a week, and you can like put your address, time, date, and everything, and you'll be delivered on time by my restaurant. And as I told you before, customers can make their own food using marketing through students by giving them discounts. Let's say I'm gonna tell them, hey, take a picture, put it on Instagram, tag, put it on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. You'll get discounts. You'll get water. You'll get a shake free. Catering for corporate and any big functions. Because I've seen like every college has many clubs actually, social clubs, sports club, this that. They do little parties every weekends or like every weeks actually. So I'll provide them with catering stuff. I'll give them discounts. It's just a way to expand my business. I'm not gonna look for enough profit, but it'll help me like grow my business. Free beverage. It's just like how to promote your business with maximum, let's say $10 of food. You could just give them for free. It's not gonna cost you much, maybe 25 cents for a bottle of water. Weekly deals, let's say attractive deals, we buy one get one free maybe, just to attract customers and to come back. So next thing, this is my goal actually. So per plate of kebab platter will cost about $6, shakes about $4. These are expense. Kebab meat will cost about $1.50, rice 50 cents, salad and sauce 75. So total cost will be $2.75 per plate, and I'll charge them $6. Shakes will be like milk will cost 30 cents, fruits 40 cents, sugar and whipped cream will cost 40 cents. Total will be $1.10. So basically, it's like half. Less than half actually would be the profit. This is just as an example from 2014. Brooklyn College has approximately 16,000 students. If 1% of 16,000, which is 160, students comes into my store and spends about like $10 each day, my daily sale would be 160 times 10, 1,600. So gross profit is about 50% every product, which is 800. 30 times 800 is my monthly calculation, which will give me 24,000 net in profit. After all the expenses like wages 900, 600, utilities 5,000, and rent 2,000, monthly profit would be 6,400. Profit will increase if sale increases, and expenses will remain the same. These all the expenses will remain the same. This is basically it. Thanks so much. Any questions, concerns?
All right, very good. How do you like this idea with his show of hands? Okay, so you have a good verification from your class. Good
Thank
job.
You should have brought some samples of the smoothies.
Right, now we're all
I should, I know.
hungry. Now we're all hungry, is right.
Next time.
Okay, so at this time, I'm proud to introduce our guest speaker for today. And I'm very proud to introduce you to my cousin, Dr. Charles Lebowitz.
Can we turn down the light? Is that
Yeah,
possible?
sure. We'll get that light there.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Lebowitz. I'm Ted's cousin. This is a copy of my last book. If any of you want to buy it on Amazon, go ahead. I'm board certified in internal medicine, fellow, all that stuff. So I spelled my name with an E, and Ted spells his I-E. How did that happen? Why are our names spelled differently? Well, it starts here. This is where we come from. Our grandparents come, this is Russia, this is Germany, and we come from Romania, which is right here. And our grandparents came over during the Great Immigration in the 1900s. Some of my grandparents come from Kiev, and we come from an area down here. We didn't have last names. They were like, I would be Charles, son of Mendel, or Teddy would be Ted, son of Joseph. There were no last names there. So, came over on the ship, nice accommodations. You can see the guys all wearing hats. And this is not like the Titanic where Rose was sitting. Bottom line, these are all their possessions. Everything they had. Then they came in, and the one thing that they were scared of here is letting the guys see them cough, because if they had tuberculosis, they were sent back. So they come in, sign their name, and in the country with nothing. These are our fathers. This is my dad, Danny, and I don't know if you've all met Joseph. Both.
He will be here, so.
They were both drafted in World War II. This is my dad, an outstanding general here, you can tell. No, he's only a private. He landed on Omaha Beach, if you saw Saving Private Ryan. That was my dad. And Joseph landed in Marseille in France. And my dad's been 5 years in the military fighting landed in England, then went to France, and went all the way through Germany. Came back home after the war and bought this right here. This was Manny's Luncheonette. It was a landmark site. This is in Borough Park, Brooklyn. It used to be Manny's. And I started working there when I was about 5. I worked there every day, evenings. I was, by the time I was 10, I was a great short order cook. And you can see right here is Maimonides Hospital. So when I used to deliver here, go into the hospital, surgeons let me help with the OR. This is the days when doctors ruled the roost. Doctors could do anything they wanted to do back then. This is a big nursing home, so everybody would come up the block from the train stations or the buses and walk up the block and go into Maimonides Hospital. And this is the ER right here. So I used to deliver, there's a side door, I used to go into the ER. The doctors would let me suture. By the time I was 15, I had delivered about 30, 40 babies. I had assisted in surgeries. I mean, I was really advanced already, because I was always there. One time I was about 17, and I went in, one of the guys let me help deliver a baby. Came back to my dad's store, working in the grill, and some guy is looking at me and looking at me and looking at me. And my dad goes, "What's the matter? Why are you looking at my son like this?" He goes, "I could swear that guy just delivered my baby." And so I had a good experience both in medicine and in short order cooks. And I helped my dad a lot. Saturday nights we'd put papers together. There would be a crowd of 300-400 people out there waiting for the Sunday news. I saw a lot of people coming here to have, visit their wives who delivered babies. And I started It's a Boy, It's a Girl cigars. And people wanted to bring gifts to people in the hospital. And I said, "What do you bring?" And they said, "Sour balls." So I had a whole case of sour balls, and they used to sell out every day. So I started my entrepreneurship here. My dad eventually bought all this building right here, all the way to here, and all these stores all around. So I'm proud of my dad. He did this, passed it on to my sister, and she still has it. It's all rented down. So I went to Stony Brook undergrad, then went through medical school and did my internship and residency at NYU. It was quite a good residency. Saw everything. I did everything. By this time, I had been in medicine since I was the age of 5, and here I'm already 25. So 20 years of medicine already. And then I went on to do my fellowship at NYU as well. One of the things I did was I realized that we were treating people differently with different types of tuberculosis. Different groups would come in. There were 3 major groups that came in to the hospital with tuberculosis. There was HIV patients, new immigrants, and what we call the Bowery people, basically homeless people who were alcoholics on the street. They would come in with TB, and they came with different types of TB. And the treatment was different for each type. And I saw that I didn't think this was right, so I went down to basically all the lab specimens were kept in the morgues, and I went through every specimen of every patient who ever came through NYU for about 5 years. This is how I spent my nights and weekends. And I said, no, the HIV patients came in with one type, but basically the Bowery patients and the new immigrants from Asia came in with a similar type. So I changed all the treatment of tuberculosis in New York City. I had a landmark paper published in JAMA, 1985, and it changed the way we treated tuberculosis. That basically Bowery and the immigrants were treated with one type of medicine, and the HIV patients were treated with another. This is when HIV just started. HIV basically presented an immunosuppressed patient who couldn't fight off infections, and this was all new, and basically everyone who came in with a new HIV infection got very sick. Now there's antivirals, antiretrovirals, and they could be treated successfully. Back then they weren't able to be. Whoops. Then I went on to do an ICU fellowship at NYU. That's intensive care. It's combined with pulmonary. I was on call 36 hours in a row, every other day. It was pretty brutal, to be honest. You work through the night, and I was in my glory. I loved it, but it just wasn't working out for me. I was already about 27, I had 2 children, and I was making $9,000 a year in Manhattan. I go, what do I do? What's going on? No jobs, there's no internet yet. My wife came to me and said, I don't have money for diapers. I couldn't call Ted. I should have. But I said, what do we do? And this was a pretty low point in my life. I have to say, in one of the most promising fellowships in the country, to get into this and then not be able to make ends meet. I couldn't have a car, couldn't have an apartment, basically couldn't even get diapers for my kids. And then I got a call. I got a call from a headhunter that said, we're looking to start an ICU in Florida, in one of the hospitals in Central Florida. So I said to my wife, what do we do? Do we go? Do we stay? All our family was in New York. Everyone we knew. I mean, I was a New Yorker. Do we move to Florida? And the answer was, what do you do? Sometimes life gives you decisions. Where do you go? Every day you're making a decision. You made a decision to come to Brooklyn College, where to live, who to go out with, what girl you're gonna ask out, what guy you're gonna go out with. It's just a series of decisions. And do I stay in the comfort of my family? I had cousins, brothers, sisters, parents. Or do you move and find your own career? Find what's best for you. I went to Florida and they were offering me 10 times the salary I was making there. A car, a house, and an office. So, really was an easy decision. Florida. Florida it was. Got out of Brooklyn, got out of New York City, and moved to Florida. Left everybody, but it's only a plane flight away. So it looked like an easy decision, didn't it? So hospital started me in a practice in Florida, and I was hired as an independent contractor. And they gave me all of the equipment, furniture, computers, copiers, and I had no idea how much it would cost to start a business. The startup costs, like you're gonna do a restaurant, what are your startup costs? I had no idea. So I saw I went to an accountant and had it all written out, and I went to the hospital and said, before I move down, everything you put in that office has to become mine. I can't, after a year, you can't take it back, what am I gonna do? So they agreed to it. And whenever you're gonna go into a business, you have to negotiate, whether it's a medical practice or any type of business, whether someone's gonna hire you, you need to negotiate. And I never thought that they would go for that, but they did. I didn't realize how much value I had to them. I basically, probably lack of self-esteem or just not realizing how much I was worth, maybe because of my situation was actually a little desperate. But they gave me an office, they gave me a car, a home, and everything I asked for. I probably could have asked for even more, but I said, let me settle for that. So the office became mine, and I had a feed of patients into my office from the hospital. So then I had to set up an office. I had never done that. I had never hired an employee, what you guys were just talking about, hiring employees. How do you do that? Where do you get them from? This was not what I did. I was not trained in business. I never had an entrepreneurship class. I was trained in medicine. I knew how to treat patients, but I didn't know how to start a practice. How do you get, how do you get the employees? Where do they come from? And then you have the other thing that I didn't know anything about was medical billing. How do you do medical billing? How do you get paid for what you do? You go see a patient in the hospital. They don't pay you. I walk into your restaurant, I give you money, you give me food. But there's a service business and it's third-party billing. What that means is you come to my office, or I see you in the hospital, and you say, bill that guy over there. And you wait for them to send you a check, if they do. And they tell you how much they want to send you. And they may deny, you may have worked for nothing. So this was something very new. How do you do the third-party billing? What happens if they don't have insurance? What happens if the insurance says you didn't pay your premium? All these things, when someone comes into an office, you could check this, but if you're seeing them in the hospital, like they're in an intensive care unit, you can't say, do you have insurance? So you have to do a lot for free. And then when I started my practice, you had to do everything electronically. It used to be paper claims, internet came out, and I know you guys don't believe this, but there was a time when there was no internet. And it's not that long ago. I'm talking about 1990. So it's really, maybe to you, you're probably born after, but it's not a long time ago. So I needed to find somebody who could do this. There's different types of codes. There's an ICD-9, which is a diagnosis code, and a CPT, which is a procedure code, and they have to match. And if you don't send it all perfectly to the insurers, whether it's Medicare or Aetna or Humana or whatever, they send it back, code denied. So, got the billing down. Took me a while, but there's always a delay in cash flow. And I didn't realize how much it costs to run a business. You started your restaurant. How much does it really cost? What you think it is going to be, probably go ahead and double it. Occupational licenses, insurances, taxes, getting equipment, getting things up and running, legal fees, accountants. I just had no idea. When I went to an accountant and said, I'm going to start a medical practice, how much do you think it will cost? And he said, probably your base fee every month will be $20,000. And I looked at it, $20,000 to run an office without me getting paid? He goes, yeah, that's probably a conservative estimate. I was making $10,000 a year. How could $20,000 a month be the cost to run an office? But that's the reality. You know, and so every time you walk in there, the first of the month, your rent is due. You have to pay your staff. If you have supplies or food or whatever you're starting in your business, insurances. So I would walk in the first day and you're down probably $10,000, have a deficit. So you need to make money quickly. You need to have that cash flow, and with third-party billing, that makes it a little difficult. And I needed a business plan. I didn't know what a business plan was, but basically what it really meant to me was how much are things going to cost? What are you going to have to generate each month, and you're going to have a carryover from the previous month? Because if you don't have the money to pay them, whether it's a medical office or a restaurant or whatever business, the last one to get paid is you. So this was the main thing that took me by surprise. After the first year and I was running my office, how much it would cost every month to run a business. It's very hard to make, to not only cover your expenses, but for you to get paid. It took me a little while to figure it out. And then, I was able to pay my office expenses, keep a certain amount in account, and also pay your home expenses. You got to pay for your house, your car, your children. And then, do you have to do marketing? Well, I was lucky that I never advertised. The hospital would always send me all of the patients every day. They would send me 20, 25 new patients every day because I was unique to that hospital, and they gave me all of my practice without having to really go out and find patients. So I was probably about 3-4 years into the practice, and I said, well, what's the concept of my business? Where am I going to go with this? Am I going to grow? Is it profitable to grow? How do you hire a new doctor? What's the business model to hire a doctor? Someone comes in, and a doctor's not a cheap thing to get. You're going to pay him $100,000 a year or more. You're going to pay for his malpractice, his health insurance. You're going to pay for him to move down, for his wife to come down and see the practice, see the location. Is this feasible? And so I went to a lawyer, and he said, well, you have to make them a partner right away. You have to have them investing into the business. And I said, well, it's mine. It's my business. Why do I have to make them a partner right away? That doesn't make sense. And I went to lawyers and accountants, and I really felt nobody was able to help me with this. It just didn't seem to work for me. What concept are you going to have if you want to grow your business? It's all on me. He's going to come in, walk in, and see patients. Why should I make him my equal? It didn't make sense to me. There's a time I should have called Ted again. You know that show, Just Ask Saul? This is Just Ask Ted, but I didn't. He's my little cousin. How can I do that? So I kind of had to think of it as I went along. I knew that you had to give them an incentive to work. You had to give all of your employees incentive to work. So the business model I came up with was having doctors work on a productivity. And that would give them incentive to work, to come up to work every day, to work hard. And instead of making them a partner or buying in, you give them a base salary, and then for every amount you bring in, you get a percentage of that. So that means they could work independently, and they're gonna work hard. They're gonna work as hard as they can, because the more that they bring in, the more they'll take home. So in that small business, that model seemed to work well for me, that not having them buy in, because you don't want a new doctor just getting out of training to come in and have to give you a chunk of their salary. You know, they want to buy a home, they want to buy a car, they have school expenses to pay. You go to NYU Medical School, it's $75,000 a year now. So how are they going to come in and then start to work and buy in? So the productivity model seemed to work for me very, very well. It also worked for all my staff. You want everybody to be a partner in that. And all staff, whether it's the secretary or the nurse or whoever, I put them on a productivity. Practice does well, everybody does better. And I gave bonuses every 3 months. That seemed to be working. Everybody would say, where are we? Everybody was really excited. It created excitement. Where are we? And I always kept a chart in the back room of where we are so they could anticipate their bonus. You know, when you hire an employee, people don't look at everything you pay to them. They look at their salary. I'm making $100,000 a year, and that's all they look at. They don't look at, well, I have to pay taxes on that $100,000 employer. I have to give you health insurance. People don't look at that, the quality of the health insurance. Whether I give you a disability plan, whether I give you paid vacation and continuing medical education. They just look at base salary. They don't look at everything that goes in as an employer. So as an employer, you see there's a different salary than what someone looks at when they're working for you. They see 100,000, you see 180,000. It's very different. So did it really pay for me? How many patients would a doctor need to see to make it successful? Could I get the business for new doctors to work? And will they become a partner? This is the hardest decision. How do you frame that contract, and how do you get them to work on it? And there's all the things I said with the new doctor: salary, moving expenses, insurances, taxes. Also, hiring a new doctor, is it going to cut out from my salary? Will I have to hire more staff? Will I have to get another office? These are all things on growth. Is growth really good? Will it work for you? Well, it did for me. I got up to 7 doctors, and the staff, we eventually got up to about 50 staff. And I was still seeing patients. And at what point does this not become profitable for you? At what point is it too big, and then you need to hire human resources people, marketing people? At what point does it get too big that you need too much space? So that there's a fine line between growth and staying the same and not growing, and where you can fine tune your profit. Medicine is a funny business, because when you go to a doctor, I figured out, I once went through the number of steps, and I figured out that there's 400 steps between you finding the doctor, calling the doctor, then answering the phone, making the appointment, telling you about the appointment, you asking a whole bunch of questions, getting your insurance information, confirming your insurance. Doctor walks into the room, sees you, the nurse comes in, sees you. It's just a number of steps, and it's a very, very inefficient business. So at what point does it stop becoming profitable? And probably at that time, at approximately, I'd say probably about 10 doctors and about 40, 50 staff, we started to go down. Also, medicine started to go down with the advent of the HMO, and we started to get a lot less reimbursement. So medicine became harder, and at what point do you let the business go? You sell. I felt it was time to let it go when I was on top. Before HMOs came in, hospitals started making their own groups. Everyone, when medicine underwent these changes, and it became less profitable for hospitals, with HMOs cutting the reimbursement to them, they started hiring their own medical clinics. I felt it was a good time to move on. So I sold. got out, and someone else has the practice, Lebowitz Medical Group, and it's no longer, I'm no longer working for them. Wrote a book or two, sold a bunch, and I thought I was going to go ahead and be on TV and be like the news correspondent for the local station, but that just wasn't comfortable for me. I'm not really good at that. I don't like looking into a camera and talking. It's just not my thing. You know, I'm much more comfortable in the role of a doctor and treating people, working on a one-on-one basis. So I started another business. I started a laser business, medical lasers like rejuvenation, Botox, basically medical cosmetics. And that started to do really well until the year 2007. What happened in 2007? Economic crash. And I'm from Tampa, and Tampa crashed big time. People were flipping homes, people were making big money, spending big money. The whole mentality changed. And so that business really didn't go on, and I ended up closing it. And not every business will go well. Sometimes this is my advertisement. When you can make payments, because people didn't care. People put down their credit card, women for beauty. There was no limit to what they'd spend. And it was great, and it was cash up front. You didn't have to bill insurances. It was nice. It was a little bit overhead intensive because a bottle of Botox is very expensive. The lasers were very expensive. I had to go become board certified in lasers and Botox. But the business really couldn't withstand the change in the economy. So you have to be ready for that. I wasn't. Never thought that the United States would have a medical, economic hit like that. So I ended up closing this, and sometimes businesses work, sometimes they don't. You can't take it personally. In medicine, you kind of do take it personally because of what's the matter with me, they didn't like me, take a little emotional side to it. But that's not how you should think about a business. If it doesn't work, and you learn from it. So my expensive lasers were in a closet, and I ended up selling them for parts. And I closed this. And now I'm one doctor, and I have one staff, and I do work for insurance companies, like for someone's being sued. They send the chart to me, and I review it and send it back. I work with some lawyers. I do what's called independent medical exams. And it's very comfortable, and it's probably as profitable as it was when I had 7 doctors and 50 staff. So, but I'm basically, it's a service business, and the business is basically me. So, final slide, guys. You have to do what you love. If you like owning restaurants, do it. If you hate food, you hate watching people eat, hate people's dirty plates, don't go into that. But if you love if you love it, I always loved medicine. Medicine to me was great. If I could make a great diagnosis or help somebody, use my medical skills, I loved it. Honesty, that goes without saying. And it's not only to people, I always felt that I could level very well with people. Just tell them up front, hey, I don't think you should have that procedure. I would just give my opinion. And also be honest to yourself. Is this what you want to do? Do you want your own business? It's a lot of responsibility when you have your own. Sometimes it's easy working for a big company. Every 2 weeks you go and get a paycheck. I could work for a big clinic. Be one of the doctors, going in at 8, going home at 5, got a paycheck every 2 weeks, and not have to worry about staff, marketing, billing, all this stuff. I didn't have to do that, but that's what I wanted to do. And you have to be true to yourself. Do you want to own your own business? I thought this was very important to be kind to your staff. I see doctors yelling, throwing instruments, being brutal. Guy walks into the room, everybody hunches up, and I just thought that's crazy. Why be mean to people who are working for you? And don't wait 3 months to do a review. Like this, so on that slide where they have the meeting every day, tell people what's expected. Don't wait for 3 months, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. Tell them right away, every day. hey, this is what I need you to do, this is what I expect from you. I expect you to answer the phone nicely, I expect you to smile at people. Sometimes I see like the staff being mean to people. Ever go to a doctor and they're mean?
Yeah.
What's that about? You're sick, they're working there. They're standing in the way of you getting proper medical care. Hey, it's not their fault. Maybe the insurances are tough, or it's, the business model is not the most efficient. But you should be kind. There's no reason not to be kind to an employee or to a client, customer, or patient. And make sure you have a business plan. It doesn't have to have the fancy quote on top. My thing is to do this with my life. It's to know what your expenses are going to be, how much you have to bring in, and be realistic. Don't convince yourself that your expenses are going to be less than they really will be. This is very important. If you start your own business, this is called the self-employed IRA. This is how you put money away for yourself. You can deduct it from your taxes. It costs $25 a year. Don't start a 401k, start a SEP IRA. You can put up to $50,000 a year away if you want. Or you can put it into stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever you want. You do your own investments. I found, for me, I'm not a finance guy, but for me, this worked really, really well. Owning your own business, there's no federal requirements. Just whatever, if you take 20% of your salary, you have to give 20% to everybody who works for you, which is great. I hope they get a lot, because that'll mean you put a lot away for yourself. Learn to read a stock chart. If you're going to put money in here, learning how to read a chart is really, really simple. And it shouldn't be something that's enigmatic to you. You should learn how to read where a stock is going up and when to buy it, when not to buy it, when to sell it. And write a book if you can. It's always good if you go on TV, author of, you can start any presentation with a book you've read. It makes, gives you credibility in what you say.
Wonderful, wonderful presentation. We have time for a couple of questions. I have a quick question,
Sure.
and you guys can answer.
Where were you when I was having this problem? Where was this class?
I think I was in kindergarten. No. that was bad. So here's the question.
Sure.
Why are we seeing on every corner of Manhattan all these MD urgent care centers like that, like Starbucks? They're on every corner. Why is that happening, and how are they making money if it's so hard to make money?
Urgent cares could bill as this, they could bill separate. Like if you go to a doctor, your family doctor, they could bill one way. And urgent care has a separate billing. They can make a little more money. It's easier. It's
You see that as a trend in medicine?
Yeah, I think it's just an easy way to get in. It's not calling a doctor, trying to get an appointment. You're sick, you walk
Right.
in. It's
Right.
trying to make the model
Right.
better for
those
more
that-
common, more
Yeah,
accommodating.
for the people that want to be doctors, would you recommend doctor versus dentist today?
It's different. Dentists, the startup costs are intense. You see the chair and the equipment that's around. These guys got to hustle. And,
Right.
the insurances pay them a little bit. And you want to give someone pain. And
Right.
I don't like going to that. I go all the time, but I don't
Right.
like it.
For sure. Okay, questions?
I was gonna ask that question.
You were going to ask whether a doctor or a dentist?
Doctors could bill the insurances. Dentists could do a little bit, but it's usually out of pocket cost to a dentist.
Right, it's a more cash basis?
Dentists have the
dent-
highest rate of suicide of any profession in the
Oh,
world.
that's one reason not to go.
That tells you something.
Yeah, go with that. All right, great, guys. Thanks very much, Dr. Lee. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a good week.
You got my homework?